Hey, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps, where we give you information for you to make an informed decision at the ballot box. We've got a lot to talk about, not only here in the U.S., but elsewhere around the world. We've got some hot information coming in. So let's get this show going. Let's welcome my friend all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma. He's the older. Who's the guy with the bear? Anyway, we'll bring him up. Lloyd.
Are you trying to say Grizzly
Grizzly
Adams?
Adams. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Although I think Chris is probably
Yeah.
closer.
But Grizzly Adams, he had his. I combed these down. He combed them out. So they were bushier. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm getting. It's getting there. I'm getting there. So yeah.
Looking good. Good.
It's
all right. Let's welcome our other bearded friend, all the way from New York. Let's welcome Charles Galuski. Welcome.
Hey, Art. Hey, Lloyd. Hey, everybody in the chat.
And how's the weather in your neck of the woods, Charles?
Well, it's taken a bit of a downslide. The last couple of days have been absolutely beautiful. Moderate temperatures, cool breezes, no need to have the AC on, just open the windows. And today it's all of a sudden getting like hotter and humider and
yeah.
Same here. It's just swampy here today.
Yeah, here. Well, it was nice out. We were probably in the 80s, but I got out in the morning before it got really hot. Mailed Lloyd's package and did a little bit of grocery shopping. And
thank you, Brian. I see you're watching, so thank you.
Yeah, that's right. And I just was tired today because, well, I've had this shoulder problem and I've been taking muscle relaxants. And even though I got more than 7 hours of sleep last night, and I just felt like, you know how you are when you had a couple drinks the night before and you wake up and you're just not really hungover, but you're just tired.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, muscle relaxers are known for having a cumulative effect. They build over. If you take them all the time and you're not used to them, right. That's why they don't give them to you all the time. But they have sort of a building, and of course the melatonin. I found since I've been taking melatonin, I'm sleeping better, but I'm dragging ass a lot too. So
So that's what's been going on. Didn't feel like flying today. I wanted to do some flying. I'm like, do it tomorrow, maybe after work. So it's been nice here. It is partly cloudy, but the sun's out, so that's good.
It is 93 degrees with 50% humidity, so it's just a little today.
Well,
so
it's 95 here in Denver. They said it was going to be a hot one this weekend. Anyway,
they said this week we're going to have hot weather. So,
and then we got Ronnie. God bless America. Good to see you. So a lot of stuff happening. Looks like, wow, weird things are happening. All of a sudden, Kamala's got enough delegates to be the nominee. And even though there hasn't been a primary and everybody was going for Biden, I don't know how that can happen. All of a sudden, the money is gone to her. So,
and what's bothering me is there's a bit of a trend where right now she's getting a pretty good bump from all this. They've rebranded her. She's now the best thing next to sliced bread. It's just the greatest thing in the world. And
well, maybe she was unburdened by burdens past.
Well, I don't know what's going on, but I remember a year ago I was talking about this.
Yep.
I said this is exactly what they were going to do after the convention. They were going to do a flip, but they wanted to see who he picked as his running mate.
Mm-hmm.
So they need somebody that's for the younger crowd. That would be Kamala, and that's where she's starting to trend again. They still got Trump winning by a few points, in the polls, and but when you look at some of the modeling, not based on polls, but based on popularity and trend and a bunch of other different things, it's still showing Trump taking what he needs in order to win, and maybe coming out with about 320 plus electoral votes. But we got 100 days to go, and I said right after Biden dropped out, I said last week, hey, if the Republicans can lose it, if there's a way to lose it, the Republicans will find a way.
Yeah, that is true. And also, I noticed somebody made the list of VP choices.
Yeah, Paulus, I heard that. Yeah, you let me know that. So
yes, Jared Paulus.
It can't be what's his name out of California, Newsom. It can't be him because you cannot have the president and the vice president from the same state.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Did not know that.
I didn't either until just recently, and I found it out, and it's like, oh, okay.
Okay. I would have thought, he's polling just about as bad as Kamala.
Yeah. Well, what we got is the woke have jumped up again because they were pretty well. The woke had gone back to sleep because of Joe Biden.
Right.
But they got rid of him, and now they're back again, and so are some of their donors.
Yep.
Although my understanding is that Zuckerberg has kind of made a reversal after the assassination attempt of Trump. So we'll see.
Yep. We will see. Yeah, it'll be.
I knew this was going to happen.
But one of the pluses for Polis is his likability. Even though he's doing a crappy job as governor here in Colorado, it's nowhere near as crappy as California, but it's getting there. He's young, he's gay, he's Jewish. So
something was brought up today.
Yes,
Charles. Sorry.
No, he's fabulous.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That means he'll have to enter through the back door at the White House.
On the other hand, it's right now it's looking kind of, right now it's a sweetheart time with Harris. It's a honeymoon period.
But
one of the things when we know that the Democrats are worried is when we got Chuck Schumer going on Face the Nation and thanking Trump for picking J.D. Vance, that he needs to replace him.
Okay.
He says that's the best thing you ever did for the Democrats was picking Vance. Well, everybody knows that Chuck Schumer also lies through his false teeth, so.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they're worried. They're trying to make the Republicans, because right now a lot of the Republicans are or the conservatives, not Republicans, but conservatives in general, and moderates are kind of shaking their head like, what the hell's going on here with this Harris thing? She was worse. She was polling worse than Biden was, and now all of a sudden she's polling better than or equal to Trump, and so they're
a lot of that is that her she's buddies with the media, and they're doing their bidding for her, just like they did with Joe Biden. Yeah. Although the thing that's going to get Harris is, hey, you were saying that Biden was sharp as a tack, and you knew all along his decline, Why are you changing all of a sudden? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's true. And those are the things. Those are the facts. But I happen to know that liberals and sometimes moderates don't. They don't like to have the facts get in the way of a good story.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so right now, what they're doing is they're pumping it up as fast and hard as they can to keep the momentum going, because now, first they built some momentum and now they're trying to keep it going, hoping that the undecided or the independent vote won't notice.
Right.
All we can do is stick with the issues, but we got to be very compelling in the way we do it. We can't, you can't make fun of a certain group of people just because they belong to that group. That's it. So Trump's going to have to be very careful in what he does.
Right.
And so is the Republicans in general, or the conservatives in general. So, all right, Ronnie, I'll put it out just for you.
Yeah.
Hey, those steroids did me some good.
So we shall see. We've got 100 days out, and I've been in that boat myself, where I ran for state house in 2012. I was running for state senate, and I lost in the primary. So I was just helping out, the winner to get him across the line. And lo and behold, the candidate they had running my district dropped out unexpectedly. And so the county chair, Joy, came up and said, "Art, would you like to do it?" And I said, "Sure." All I had to do was change. I already had yard signs made up for my Senate race, state Senate.
Right.
So what I did is I came up with the bumper stickers that go over the part that says SD 28 to HD 41. So it was just a real easy changeover. Got all the signs. I had help with some volunteers to change all that out. Then we got the signs out. I quickly did some mailers and some robocalls, and I still lost by the same percentage points as the last candidate. So it was like 67 to 33. So
yeah.
So,
but you put yourself out there. That's what mattered. You got involved.
I got involved, and I had my day in the sun to run, and it was quite an experience. So I know what it's like to be in a race that's that close to the end. So, and that's what Kamala has to do. She's got to get everything together and put herself out there.
I'm trying to figure out, because the Obamas didn't come out in support of her right off the bat. They kind of held back. They finally did it, but I think they're running the puppet show right now, but I think somebody else is pulling their strings, probably Hillary.
It's the Obamas.
No, I mean, somebody's pulling Obama's strings.
You think so? Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's powerful, and he's not quite as deranged as Hillary.
Yeah.
So he's the face up front as the puppet master. But he's just a puppeteer. He's not the puppet master. So
right. Okay.
I think Hillary or Bill or both are the puppet masters.
Yeah.
And
let's see. So I lost my train. Oh, I wanted to talk about if there's going to be a debate. That's going to be interesting. I think Trump could really just stomp on her. But if he does it the right way and not come off as mean, I think he could. I think he could beat her just like he beat Hillary, because she is not very likable as well, especially in California.
Right. No, I think he should, but that they're saying, well, he's, the news, especially the liberal news, the left wing news is all saying, he's refused to debate her. No, he had a debate set in September with Joe Biden.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now,
That's right.
They're going to have to rearrange that. And now that Joe Biden's no longer the other attendee, he'll pick, he's going to pick where he wants to go, not where Joe wants to go. Joe made the challenge, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Joe set it up. Hello, Fly Zone FPV.
Yeah, that's Michael.
Michael, yeah.
Yeah, one of the hosts.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of there's some logistics to work out. Trump did he did pretty good after he really hit his stride after the assassination attempt. It really did him right. It put him in a better standing with the American people. But
right. Mm-hmm.
Again, and like Ronnie said, there's going to be there very possibly could be another rigged election. I see that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff has changed out. Some of the rules are different now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And some of that stuff has been, but we're going to have to wait and see. I right now I'm still seeing Trump winning, but at one point I saw him with 50 to 46, 50% to 46, with 326 to like 232, somewhere along that line.
And don't forget RFK Jr.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, right now RFK is actually hurting Trump rather than. Yeah, he's actually taken away from Trump more than he is Kamala. In the last couple of polls that I've looked at and the last couple of models I've watched,
right.
And right now, one of the newest polls come out and he's pulled actually, if he were to drop out, which he's not going to, but if he were to, then he would, they would probably flip for Trump, easy.
Right.
But right now, I mean, he takes some away from Kamala, but he's taking a little bit more away from Trump than he is Kamala. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
because it's probably the undecideds that he's probably getting.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not going to be of center Republicans.
The other thing that's hurting Trump right now is the young people, because the young people are just, with Biden running, they could care less. They just weren't involved.
Right.
Now they've got somebody closer to their age, and
60 something?
Whatever. Yeah, but it's better than
Well, and that's why I think Polis would be a good choice.
Right. And again, that, I think J.D. Vance was a good choice too. I personally do, but
he's only 39. Yep.
But he's got a lot going for him, and I don't know how old Polis is, but free college. There you go, Brian. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, I actually looked at some videos today talking about that, the second shooter, and I'll have to find it, but there is, one guy went over some other video evidence, and there's been some people that have, looked at the second shooter scenario and they've listened to the audio shots. They've looked at where they think the other, there's an open window in one of the buildings, and then there's the water tower. Well, the water tower one, he couldn't have shot Trump because the big sign was in the big background, the TV screen was in the way.
Right.
So that got rid of that guy. The other guy, he didn't have the right trajectory to shoot. You know, he might have been close. He might have been able to hit Trump, but he couldn't hit the other two. You know.
Right.
And they've taken and broken down the audio evidence, and there are 8 shots that have the exact same audio pattern.
Right.
And then a 9th shot has a distinct one, which would be the shooter,
the sniper that killed
the shooter. Yeah. And where the open window, the open window theory of that building, which is the only other one that could have done it because the water tower is in the wrong position altogether. But
I just saw a video about an hour or so ago. There were some other snipers that I think they were Secret Service, but they were in the wooden bleachers on the other side. So their shot would have been 350 yards.
Yeah.
And this guy demonstrated, you know, putting a watermelon up and making it look like a makeshift roof with the same slope and and how the shot came, and he did it 350 yards. Just one. Yeah. And this
a good sniper would be able to do that. You know.
Yeah.
You know, like I saw it the first day. I saw a picture of the guy getting shot, but he was shot right up in here, and of course, it exploded out and knocked his teeth out and everything.
Right.
So there are certain there were certain things that they weren't able to replicate, but yeah, you're right. It's about 500, 600 if they're, you know,
if you're really good, if you have a good scope on it.
You got to have a decent scope. But the thing is generally a sniper doesn't use an AR.
Yes. That's right. A sniper would use a bolt action.
Action, exactly. Semi-automatics are too, you know, a bolt action can be, you know, locked into place, and, you know, you set that scope.
That's like if you see that sniper movie. What was the name of it? With Chris somebody who
is it Chris Pine? No, not Chris Pine.
No, the real guy's name.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, he was using a 50 caliber bolt action rifle, and he was well over a mile, sometimes 2 miles. Yeah.
American Sniper, that's it.
American Sniper, yep. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Chris Pine, just a little squirrel moment here.
Chris Kyle, that's who it is.
Chris Kyle, yes, yeah. You know who Chris Pine is. He played in the
Star Trek,
as well as Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. His dad is Robert.
His dad
Pine.
was Robert Pine. Yeah, from Chips. Yeah, I did not know that until just the other day. Or if I did, I forgot.
Yeah, I didn't either. I noticed his father also did a Star Trek episode. He was one of the Vulcans. And I think it was it Enterprise? I think it was Enterprise.
Might have been, yeah.
And we got Uncle Bill. Welcome. Good to see you, Bill.
Hello, Uncle Bill.
So that's what's going on with we got Kamala, and we got the DNC coming up in about 3 weeks. And that'll be interesting to see what will happen. And do you guys follow the History Guy on YouTube?
Yeah. No. I haven't seen it.
Well, he did a couple of videos on Democrat conventions. One was the 68 convention. That was a really good one. And the 72 convention.
I
which
remember
was
both
very
those.
interesting, where McGovern was
Was a nominee.
nominee. And I thought he was senator from Minnesota. No, he was from North Dakota.
Yeah, he was. That's right.
Yeah. And so he got beat pretty badly by Nixon. I think he only carried Massachusetts. He didn't even carry his home state.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember. Was it 72 or 68 that George Wallace got shot?
68.
68. That's what I thought. Yeah.
No, wait a minute.
I know we've had that discussion before, but yeah, the
Right.
68 convention, I remember that. Boy, that was a Donnybrook. That was some hellacious fighting and protesting and you know,
right.
it was, I remember it was like we were.
It was 72.
It was 72.
stand
Okay.
corrected.
All right. I thought it was because I talked to somebody else about that the other day, and I was thinking 72, but I couldn't remember
Right.
off the top of my head.
And I believe Wallace carried 4 or 5 states.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good for a third party candidate.
Yeah.
But ever since he's the last third party candidate to get any electoral votes.
Yep.
Where Ross Perot got nothing.
Yeah.
All he did was hand the election to Clinton because he was pissed off at Bush for not awarding him the contract for the post office.
Oh, yeah.
So that we talked about that after the show.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So moving right along, we've talked about the Harris Trump situation. We've talked about the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
There was some really strange shit going on television during, well, let's just put it this way. People were dressed funny.
Oh, you mean the mocking of the Last Supper at the Olympics? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cousin and I talked about this, but not taking away from our athletes that are over there representing us.
Right.
But after I saw that, I could give a damn less. How many gold, how many silver, how many bronze? I could care less about the Olympics. They
even screwed up South Korea. They called them North Korea.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of North Korea, Kamala was over there in Korea, and she said, "Our ally, North Korea."
Yeah.
So Trump could use that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, that was a very disgusting.
Yes.
Had that been, let's say, all on the Rock of Prophecy or whatever they call that great rock, had they done that, made a gay guy that dressed like Allah or Muhammad?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Let's dress him up.
Christianity is the only religion you could make fun of, but not Islam.
Yeah, because had they done that, I guarantee you, they would have burnt that city to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of the problem with Paris or with France is they've got so many of the Muslim Moroccans living there. Because when French Morocco fell, they gave citizenship to all Moroccans when they gave them their independence. They gave them French citizenship, so they are allowed to move in and out of France all they want.
Right.
And those young people have not been getting jobs, and they've been rioting and burning the city for like 10 years now. They let it rest for 6-7 months, a year, and then they start back at it. So had that happened, and it was the Muslims they were making fun of, that would have been the end of the Olympics. There.
And how about those funny uniforms that our athletes were wearing in ceremony. They look like Captain Kangaroo.
Yep, I've heard that. And
Wow,
I looked at
that
it like
was weird.
the Olympics is nothing like it was when we were growing up.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
You know, and this thing of having it every 2 years,
Right.
you know, like they're doing it, winter, summer. Back in the day, during
Was
the winter,
every
you watch
4
the
years.
Winter Olympics. Summer, you watch the Summer Olympics. Every 4 years, same as
Yep.
elections.
Yep.
And which goes to show you the value of the Olympics, because, see, now we have an Olympic every election year for our Congress,
Right.
whereas we used to have them every election year of our president. So, and we know how much Congress is worth most of the time now. They're pretty worthless. So
Right.
that's the way the Olympics are too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just a
Although
thought.
we do lead the medal count, and last I looked, I think we were up to 10 or 12 medals, and we're ahead of everybody.
I don't even care. As far as I'm concerned, the Olympics are a dead sport. It's like,
Yeah.
I'd be more impressed with the Harlem Globetrotters than I would with anybody in the Olympics right
Yep.
now.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to take away from the individuals that are excelling in their sport.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But the Olympics and the Olympic committees and the scandal and the bribing and the stuff that's gone on for the last 40 years,
Right.
it's no longer nations getting together and trying to compete. First off, what in God's name does a drag queen have to do with being an athlete?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Yep.
especially the one that was in the center, that was, had the center position wearing the crown.
Right.
That thing, whatever it was, probably couldn't have been over and tied its own shoes, let alone run a decathlon or anything like that,
Right. Well,
So-
maybe sumo wrestling.
That would be about it.
Yep.
Is that
Yep.
actually an event? Is sumo wrestling an event in the Olympics? I don't think it is it?
I don't think so. They got
See?
Greco-Roman
Yeah,
wrestling.
but that's the thing. There was nothing about any of those people that had anything to do with Olympics. I
Oh,
thought-
you know what country is absent from the Olympics?
Russia?
Russia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're not in it this time around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of figured, but
And probably the Ukraine too.
yeah,
They're probably not in it either. Yeah.
there you go, Ronnie. Yeah,
Yep.
if they're going to allow that, yeah. And it's just now I've heard some people say that, oh well, we're trying to be inclusive.
Inclusive.
Well, guess what? None of those people. I mean, I don't care what your orientation is. If you are a good athlete and you can make the team, providing you're in your own biological category,
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, now women competing in men's sports, okay, that's a tough woman, okay,
Yep.
but men competing in women's sports is not right.
Yeah.
But this whole inclusion thing, those people weren't inclusive. They've tried to pass it off as that was actually the Feast of the Gods from another painting.
Oh, Ukraine
So-
is in it. And Lloyd will win the coughing decathlon.
Just before the show, I had some popcorn and I got a kernel stuck right there.
Yeah, that's
So-
always good. Why don't you have a glass of milk too?
Yeah, well,
They always say never drink milk if you're a singer. Don't
Yeah.
drink milk before a show.
Well, I just grabbed it and didn't think about it, and just a little hole got stuck there. So, but yeah. Anyways, that whole thing, I don't care.
Mhm.
There was no point in that. I mean, they did this clear. They did this like in Sydney back I don't know, 10 years ago, they had a drag queen light the Olympic torch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
I don't even remember.
I do.
I
thought,
you know, the only Olympics well, there are two Olympics that I remember. The 72 Summer Olympics.
yep.
Where they had the hostages.
Yeah.
Palestinians, PLO.
PLO, yeah.
Yep. And the 80 Olympics where the hockey team won.
Yeah.
And was that the same year, the Summer Olympics, that Mary Lou Retton was the big star of that? Or was that? Yeah, I think it was around that time.
Yeah, it was around that time, yeah.
And her health is not doing that.
No, she's going through some stuff now, but
yeah. All right. We had some news coming out of southern Lebanon, northern Israel. Hezbollah launched a rocket attack into northern Israel, where it landed near a I don't know, a soccer field, or
a park type thing. So, yeah.
Killed 12. Oops, I can't say killed. Unalived 12 children.
Yeah.
And it was quick too, because the alarm just sounded and the kids were running towards the shelter, and that's when the bomb or the rocket hit.
I want to stop you for just 1 second, and I got to go back to something you said.
Okay.
You said unalive?
Yeah, because that's one of the words that people use on YouTube to get it, because kill, you can't say kill.
Yeah, you can.
Use the K word, the violent K word, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Especially if you're doing a video. But since this is a live show, maybe they could let it slide. I don't know. But if you...
When the hell did that happen? Because I watched Fox News on YouTube, and they use that friggin' word.
Well, because they are a news outlet. If you ever follow Eli, the Eli Yoder, the ex-Amish guy...
Oh, no, I don't.
About his father unaliving himself because he's trying to, stay within the community guidelines for YouTube. You can't say suicide or killed himself, because
you got to use terms like self-deletion or
Mm-hmm.
Really, I'm gonna have to start reading the community guidelines then, because I say it all the time. I think I have a right to say it because I live in the United States, freedom of speech.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Netanyahu was just recently here in the United States, gave a big speech at the Congress.
Right.
And there were some protesters outside.
There were.
Pro-Hamas or pro-terrorist demonstrators. And there were several congressmen that didn't decide not to go to the speech. So, except Rashid Tlaib was there, and she was holding up a sign saying war criminal.
Yeah, well, one particular senator that didn't show up should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah. And who was that?
Kamala Harris.
Oh, yeah.
As the well, not a senator, she's a vice president, but she is the president pro tem of the Senate.
Senate, yes, that's right.
And that's her job to preside over it, and she didn't.
Right.
So I have no, there's another reason I have no use for those bunch of people, but
right. Mm-hmm.
It just, by the way, we mentioned the unkilling of those, or unliving of those 12 children in Lebanon. Well, they've already, last night they struck back and they unlived a few Palestinian or Hezbollah people too. They struck back. Good. And they struck back pretty hard, but that's not even their initial response.
Right.
This is just a follow-up to like,
Yep.
okay, the rest is coming.
Yep.
And the adults are saying that live in that little area of where those children were lost their lives. The adults said if they don't go after Hezbollah,
Yeah, they don't. They're
going
will
to do it themselves.
Yep. And
They'll
and
arm
those
themselves.
people, they're armed.
Oh yeah,
Because in Israel, every adult has weapons because
Yep.
they're part of the IDF.
IDF. Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh-huh. I
So
want to say
they've-
hello to Michael. Ted
Yeah,
Sargent
I said hi,
guy.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's right. And I wouldn't blame them if they want
But
to.
yeah, they've Israel has already started striking back against
Oh,
Hezbollah,
good.
but they're planning on something bigger. He convened today. He was convening his cabinet, so they can go into a more detailed, and but going back to the protest, okay,
Right.
the fact that they were out in front and they took down the American flag, they burned it, and then put
Yep.
the Palestinian flag up.
Right.
Unacceptable. It's time for us to start. It's time for somebody in our government to start taking responsibility and putting those people in jail and keeping them there. Throw away the friggin' key.
Right.
Let
Or
them
send
little
them
kids.
back. Send them
What?
back. Send them back to.
Yeah, but what's really sad is a lot of them are not Palestinians. They're friggin' college students, and they need to be
Yep.
put in a dark hole with Bubba.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Make every one of those guys, those little sissy boys that dress in their skinny jeans, spend about a year with Bubba in the basement.
Yep.
They'd find out what real torture was about,
Yeah, there you go.
I have no tolerance for those young people anymore. I just can't stand it. I'm just getting friggin' tired of this country allowing our young people to do stuff like that.
Right.
They may have burnt, during the 60s and the riots over the Vietnam War, which no matter which side you're on, it doesn't matter. But they may have burned some flags. But nobody liked Hanoi Jane after that war.
Right.
It didn't matter which side, because they were trying. They were protesting against a war that shouldn't have happened. That we shouldn't have been involved with, regardless, and against Lyndon Johnson, and they were supporting Americans. And you know something? The ones that did not want to do that and did not want to be in the military, they went to Canada. They left. Let's pack these people up and send them to Canada.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's right, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll probably be one of the topics that Trump will bring up, because he was a supporter of no cash bail or PB.
Yeah, and Ronnie, you're right too.
Yep.
Who starts saying, who said it was a bad idea to tell kids no,
Right.
And
well,
it's just like,
and I hate to say this, but it all goes back to education.
Yeah, it does.
If we could go in
Who's
and
Bubba?
Purge these colleges and universities of these nonsensical classes and degrees that we're pumping out and that we're going to pay for, because our idiot president is going to forgive their loan. Fortunately, luckily for us, a judge stopped that.
You're right, Ronnie. And I want to answer Steve Knowles. Bubba is the big guy with all the tattoos and the beard, and he's he works out at the weight bench 3 hours a day in prison. He's that big old convict that everybody's scared of, like sort of guy that looks like Brock Lesnar, if you know who he is. That's Bubba. That's the guy you don't want to, because he'll introduce you to a way of life you don't want to be introduced to. It's a generic term for the biggest, big bad Leroy Brown,
Yeah, that's right.
or Leroy Jenkins. I don't know.
So yeah, I mean that's right. If we get that, and that's what's causing our tuition to go crazy out of control, because these nutty professors, they keep coming up with, oh, let's have a degree in women's studies. Well, what does that have to do with the an applied degree that someone could actually use on the outside? Or philosophy of I don't know, pigment discoloration. I don't.
They've got degrees in crap that is just it's just like
I call them basket weaving classes. Remember,
yeah.
we used to call those.
When I went to college, you had to have certain basics to graduate.
Right.
You had to have mathematics. You had to have sciences. You had to have even though mine was in English literature, I still had to have those cores.
Right.
Hey, Andrew. Hello, Lee.
Hello, Lee. Andrew. And let's see what other. Oh yeah, mathematics, science, history. Well, and then there's social science.
Right.
Like psychology and those classes. Now they've added another category, and it's like that has nothing to do with these courses that could get you a job somewhere. Like I remember a few weeks ago, I saw something on television or on the internet where they were interviewing these kids that were graduating from college, and the degrees they got is like, huh? You got a degree in what? Diverse management? Oh, it's like, how in the hell is that going to help you? I mean, what job can you get with that? And then they'll find out, well, I can't get a job and nobody's hiring, and they paid, like that, $100,000. They have this big college debt and no way to pay it off.
Yeah,
Well,
where my degree is at right now?
Bullshitology.
No, I mean my degree. I've actually it's
theology?
actually stuck back there in a stack of books, hidden somewhere because I don't use it. I never did. And it's because when I got out of college, I still had to work because I was married and paid my way through college. Judy worked and I went under the VA, but I still had to pay,
Mm-hmm.
And one thing you will not see, or not very, very often, I haven't seen too many protests at the Votex. I haven't seen flag burnings at the Votex.
Mm-hmm.
And
my degree, I got a degree in marketing because I wanted to get into advertising, because I wanted to use my creative side to come up with ads, either in print or television, radio, what have you. But I found out after that, no, you got to be in sales. And I'm like, oh, that's not because you thought that speaking in front of people is scary. Try being a salesperson where you're hawking somebody's goods for a living, almost like a telemarketer. And I'm like, oh no, I did that, and I
sold rainbow vacuum cleaners.
Ah, there you go.
And water softeners.
Oh, okay.
And World Book encyclopedias. Oh. I sucked at all three of them. I'm about starved to death.
Yep. So
Fortunately, the military gave me my retirement, and I was able to start living comfortably again.
yeah. Well, for me, while I was in college, I was going to open mics and
Not Hoovers, rainbow vacuums.
right. I was building my comedy chops and learning, how to write jokes and how to tell a joke. And I did that for 25 years. And I did it full time for about 6 years. And I kept seeing horror stories of my comedian friends getting into horrible car wrecks with no insurance. And I'm like on health insurance.
Right.
Yeah. No retirement package, and the odds of me making it big were pretty slim, probably less than 10%. Unless the only way you could make it is if you know somebody and you happen to be at the right place at the right time.
Or if the only other person I could say is you have got to be really, really dedicated.
Yes.
Like Jeff Dunham.
Yes, that's right.
He tried 9 times to get on the Tonight Show.
Tonight Show, yep.
And everybody said, well, he's a ventriloquist. No, he's a comedian that does 2 parts.
Right. And that's right.
He has to be the straight man as well as the comic,
Right.
And that's hard to do,
Yep.
But
and I've worked all kinds of places, mostly bars that had comedy, and I did work a few clubs. That was one of my goals, was to try to get into these comedy clubs where I could build up a fan base. And that's also another thing you got to think about is building up a fan base where people like your material and like you. And that takes a lot of work. And now, back then I was hawking merchandise after the show. I sold T-shirts. I sold bumper stickers. Some comedians were selling DVDs and even cassettes of their, jokes. Yeah. People would buy that shit. I'm like, holy cow. When I went over to Japan and South Korea, I brought a whole crap ton of bumper stickers. I sold so many bumper stickers that my wallet, I could not fold my wallet. It was so thick with the 1s and 5s and 10s. And then I became the bank because the other comics weren't smart enough to bring enough money with them to carry them through the 3 weeks.
Right.
If they wanted to buy something, or can I borrow, a couple $100? But yeah, here you go. And because I knew they'd pay me back because we were all on the same plane on the way back. And they were good about that. They paid me back, and so that was probably the only tour that I really, as an opening act, I made really good money then.
Yeah, I used to loan money like that too when I was in the service, and we were anytime we were either on deployed to our temporary duty out to Las Vegas. A lot of them guys like to gamble, and I didn't. And I had money. And week before payday, and they'd blown all their money, and they didn't have, they couldn't call their wives and ask them to send them some more because they weren't supposed to be out there gambling,
Right.
So, and so they'd come to me, and I say, okay, next week is payday. I'll loan you $75, but on payday I want $100 back.
There you go.
I got it. I made money out there, man.
That's good. That's good.
They call it loan sharking, but hey, They weren't going to turn me in because most of them were sergeants and above. They outranked me. So, and they're not supposed to be barred from non-NCOs or lower ranked people. I mean, it's just they weren't going to turn me in. Hell, I had guys that were, E8 and E9s, or guys that were, captains and, lieutenants, and they'd come to me because they knew I always had money on me.
Oh, nice.
We were stationed out there for more than a week. I guarantee you, we were out there for quite a while. So I made some fair money back then.
Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on. Oh, also another thing that was supposed to happen yesterday, there was supposed to be an executive committee to oust our current chair, but they got an injunction from a friendly judge in Arapahoe County to stop the meeting.
Oh,
so I imagine my buddy Randy Corcoran, he's a lawyer, probably found some liberal judge who doesn't like Republicans to just help him stop this meeting. So yeah, it was supposed to happen Saturday and they couldn't do it. So we're probably stuck with this lunatic for probably till the end of, after this election cycle, and hopefully we could stem the bleeding that's going to be happening. Yeah. Because there's no money coming in. Nobody wants to give to the party because this guy, he pissed off a lot of donors.
Yeah.
And used the money for his own campaign when he ran for Congress in CD5, and then got thumped pretty thoroughly in that primary. So,
yeah. I think sometimes Oklahoma has problems with, maybe not the straightest shooter in the world, but man, when I listen to other states, we're a bunch of angels compared to a lot of states,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but yeah,
I've been watching this, simmering for 14 years. When I first got into politics, I'd see these two guys going after each other. You're a rhino. Well, and just yell at the other guy. And this is at one of our breakfast meetings. It was the Arapahoe County Republican breakfast, and for women too. And they would have it every Monday, and I would try to go to as many as I could. Back then, I had a pretty lenient boss that would let me go, and I use some of my PTO to go to this, and then come in and work 6 hours and go to that meeting. But then when we got a new owner of the company, that was the end of that. I couldn't do that. So
yeah.
And I kind of miss seeing those old guys, because one of the founders of that organization was a World War II vet, and he was at the Battle of the Bulge, and he had some colorful stories about Patton, and those were fun. And then we had
I heard a couple of them from my dad because he was with the 804 tank destroyer. So I heard several stories about Patton.
Yeah. Did you hear the story about him pissing into the Rhine River?
I don't know. If I did, I don't remember.
Yeah. That was one of his stories. He tried telling that on a radio channel, and they bleeped him out when he said
oh yeah.
That was when I first got into real radio. It was 5,000 Watt Bic Lighter of Denver, KKCK, yeah, out of Centennial, Colorado. Yep. And I was I at first I was a guest on this show, and then they kept bringing me back, and then I became producer of the show. I was bringing all the guests for the show.
Oh,
And then
wow.
one day I showed up for the show and knocking on the door, and they opened up. Oh, Marcus quit. I'm like, what? Why the hell didn't he tell me? That pissed me off.
Yeah.
And then he was talking about, oh yeah, I'm going to get you a job at a, on this radio station. And it was kind of like a certain drone channel that was making promises and stuff, that lives in Thailand, named Robbie. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that kind of BS. And I finally just said, screw it.
I never did get my monitors from him.
Alrighty, so we've done a little over an hour. I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming. And please tell your friends about this channel. We're trying to grow this channel, and I'm almost at 500 subs. And let's get over 500. And it'd be nice if I could get like 50 or 60, 70 views a week and start building the views up. And yeah, we're a different channel. We blend some humor and information. Sometimes we veer off on other topics, and that's what makes us interesting. That's why you guys like coming back. So thank you all. God bless you, and have a great week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, folks.